Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Ve salatu ve selamu ala Resulina ve Habibina ve tabibi kulubina ve şefi zunubina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve ashabihi ve etba'ih ve ihvanihi minel enbiyai vel murselin ecma'in. Radiyallahu anna ve ankum ve an kâfetil müminin. Rabbena atina min ledunke rahmeten ve hiy lana min emrina raşada. We are approaching the blessed month of Ramadan. Allah Ta'ala put barakah in the month of Ramadan. Allah Ta'ala made some places more sacred than other places. Allah Ta'ala made some times more sacred than other times. And Allah Ta'ala made some people more sacred than other people. This is the barakah. ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. So what's the meaning of barakah? Barakah means something is more than what it is. That's the meaning of barakah. So when you make salat in Mecca and in Medina, which are Mubarak, there is barakah, your salat is more than what it is. You know, in Mecca, 100,000 times more than what it is. In Medina, 1,000 times more than what it is. So that's the meaning of barakah. So let's say with $100, you buy something worth of $200. That means this $100 has barakah in it. Or if you do in one day, the amount of work which usually takes 1 week or 1 month, that means this day has barakah in it. So Ramadan has barakah, that means it's more than a month. You know, in the month of Ramadan, if you seize the opportunity, you do things that are equal to multiple months, maybe years. And the best expression of it is that Allah Ta'ala rewards everything you do in Ramadan abundantly, especially in the Laylatul Qadr. You know, this one night is equal to 1,000 nights. So 1,000 nights, how many years? How many? How many? 83 years. So if you spend this night with prayers, you get the ajr of 83 years, equal to 83 years. You know, imagine somebody praying 83 years, 24 hours, like how much ajr he gets, just spending in this night. You get the ajr equal to 83 years. That's barakah. That's barakah. So that means one night is more than one night. One night equal to 83 years. So that's the barakah. And also every good deed you do in the month of Ramadan, Allah Ta'ala abundantly rewards, with His generosity during this month. So this is such a blessed time, and we are approaching to it. And Rasulullah SAW used to welcome and be prepared for the month of Ramadan, starting from month of Recep. And he was praying, Allahumma barik lana Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, help us reach Ramadan, because Ramadan is such a blessed time and equal to almost like your whole life. I mean, like very few people live 83 years, right? So the amount of ajr you get in the month of Ramadan in one night equal to one long life of ajr. So that's why he was praying, Ballighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, help us reach Ramadan, get to Ramadan and benefit from its benefits. It is such a blessed time. And Mevlana Celal Rumi said, Ramadan is the feast of Allah on the face of the earth. Ramadan is the feast, spiritual feast of Allah. And In the feast, you are offered many blessings, many gifts, many good things, right? So Allah Ta'ala offers spiritual feast, in the month of Ramadan, and everyone benefits from this spiritual feast. So that's why he said Ramadan is the feast, the spiritual feast of Allah Ta'ala, and Alhamdulillah, we are blessed, with such a month, and we are also blessed with the gift of fasting. So fasting is not torture, fasting is not burden, it's a gift from Allah Ta'ala, and there are many benefits involved in fasting, especially the spiritual benefits, because it's a month of cleansing yourself, and gaining health, but this spiritual health as well as physical health. So today it became fashionable to fast. They call it interim fasting. They stop eating and drinking. Why? So that they gain health. They discovered that fasting is very healthy, but it is not an ibadah for them. It's not a worship. They do it only for helping their bodies. But we fast in Ramadan. The most important benefit is the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, is paradise. And then physical health is a bonus on the side. But they do it only for this bonus. What's bonus for us is the goal for them, because they worship themselves, because they do everything for their body, but they neglect their soul completely, because they don't believe in the soul, they don't believe in the heart, they don't believe in the hereafter. The only faith they have in their body, and so they pay so much attention, so much care to their body. And look at the advertisements, most of them is about like cosmetics, diet, health, everything is about the body, because they are materialists, but even those materialists, they discovered, wow, fasting is something very good, let's fast, but they do it for wrong reason. They do it just to help their body. But Rasulullah said, "Sumu tasihhu," fast so that you gain health. You gain health. The Rasulullah told us about this. And actually, if you apply the prophetic diet, you don't need any diet. Apply the diet of Rasulullah, you don't need to do any other diet, because Rasulullah had the best diet. Those who have problem with their diet, they should study how Rasulullah ate and just follow it. They will gain health, inshallah ta'ala. So the month of Ramadan is a month of cleansing, tazkiyatun nafs, and also month of Ramadan is a month of liberation. Liberation from what? What? Shaitan, yes. Excellent answer. Liberation from shaitan, liberation from nafs, liberation from our routine. Because now we are enslaved by our routine. Oh, every morning I want coffee. I have to eat donuts. I have to eat, this and that. I cannot survive without drinking coffee. But in Ramadan, you are liberated. You realize no need for coffee, no need for Dunkin' Donut, no need for this, no need for that. In outside Ramadan, I cannot survive without drinking water. Especially in America, they always carry a bottle of water with themselves, as if they live in the desert. There's always water to drink. But they always carry it, their cup of coffee all the time in their hand. It's a very strange culture, as if, it's like, it's not available. Why do you carry all the time your coffee and drink with you? Such a strange habit. So anyway, so Ramadan, you get liberated from all these things. You break all these habits, all these addictions. You realize that you are not going to die without drinking water, without drinking this coffee, without having breakfast, without having lunch. So this is a month of liberation. And this liberation requires sharpening your will. Sharpening your will. Like you make a decision that you are not going to eat, you are not going to drink, and you do it. This requires very strong will. Today, especially in America, people have either no willpower or very weak willpower. So they want to exercise, diet, but they cannot control themselves because they have no willpower. They want to stop, doing some things which they don't like. They don't stop using drugs, alcohol, and many other habits. They want to stop playing games on the computer, but they cannot do it because they have no willpower. It's very weak. So always they are defeated. But in Ramadan, Muslims decide not to eat and drink for a month, and they do it. This shows they have big willpower. And no other people have such a willpower. Okay? Only Muslims have this willpower. So if you tell those Americans, I'll give you $10,000, you will just fast, you're not going to eat and drink for 1 month, they cannot do it even for 1 day. But Muslims do it. Why? Because Muslim has willpower. If you tell those guys, you will wake up every day before sunrise, and 10 minutes you do something. They are not going to be able to do it. But Muslims have willpower. They get up, they sacrifice their sleep, wake up and do it 5 times a day. They cannot imagine doing these things. I had a friend when I was doing my PhD, he used to have Cokes, cans, on his desk. And one day I saw he has a lot of bottles of water. I said, what happened, Cain? His name was Cain. What happened to your Cokes? He said, I'm fasting. I said, what kind of fasting is this? You are drinking water and eating. He said, on Sunday, I went to church, and the priest told in the church, we are supposed to fast. But I know I cannot fast. I know you cannot fast. So let's find a solution. He said, everyone sacrifice something he or she loves, and we take it as fasting. And he said, because I love Coke, I sacrifice drinking Coke. Some of my friends, they love chocolate. They stop eating chocolate, during these days. And so this is our fasting. See how they corrupt their religion because they have no willpower. But Muslims are no joke. They have willpower. They do it for a month. And I saw many people who became Muslims simply because they saw Muslims, making this sacrifice for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. They were so impressed by this deep commitment, strong commitment, and this willpower. They said, oh, I have to enter this religion. Like before I came here in Qatar, a young boy became Muslim. He said, my dream came to a reality. He said when he was a student, he had some roommate, Muslim. He was praying God, making sajda. And he was so impressed, such a strong, prayer, prostrating, making sajda. And he wanted to pray God doing same thing. But he asked permission from his mother. His mother said, no, you cannot become Muslim. You have to stay Christian. But his mother passed away, and he traveled to another country. There, he decided to become Muslim. He said, this is what I have been longing for, to pray God, making sajda. And there are many people, like when they see Muslims, praying Allah Ta'ala with this strong willpower, they say, wow, these people really impressive. I must enter this religion. So fasting is a great blessing to us from Allah Ta'ala. So it brings us more health, spiritual health, and physical health, and it sharpens our will. And imagine those people who have such a strong willpower, who fast for a whole month. Like you go to school, you ask your friends whether they can stop 1 day, not eating, not drinking. They cannot do it, right? But you do, as even small children, for 1 month. See how powerful your will compared to them. This is real power. Real power is the willpower. And if you have willpower, you can do everything. Nothing can stay in front of you. So this is real liberation, and this is real freedom. So there are different levels of fasting, and Imam Ghazali says that for awam, for uneducated people, fasting is just not eating and drinking. And he says this is fasting of the stomach, sawmul ma'da, sawmul button. They just stop just eating and drinking. This is the simplest and the minimum level of fasting. But he says the educated people, hawas, they fast with their whole body by refraining from anything that's haram. So if your eyes, your ears, your hands, your tongue, if you protect them from anything haram, from anything unlawful, unacceptable by Allah Ta'ala, that's the fasting of the body, sawmul badan. So there is sawmul ma'da or sawmul button, and there is sawmul badan. And then he says there is something higher than this. What is that? It is sawmul qalb, fasting of the heart. So what's fasting of the heart? How can the heart fast? By not letting even the idea of doing something wrong come to your heart. So that's sawmul qalb. Not even doing it, but not even thinking about it. Not even having it in your imagination world. Just stopping, even thinking, doing something wrong. Not letting even such a bad idea come to your mind, to your heart. That's sawmul qalb. And also cleaning your heart from loving anything wrong, from longing for something wrong, thinking something wrong, feeling something wrong. That's sawmul qalb. That's the highest level of fasting. So may Allah make our fasting sawmul qalb. This is the fasting of the messengers of Allah Ta'ala and the awliyaullah and the ulama and the educated people, hawasul hawas. Sawmul ma'da, sawmul awam, sawmul badan, sawmul hawas, and sawmul qalb, sawmul hawasul hawas. They are special people, who are like well educated and well trained, fasting. So inshallah, when we fast, we not only stop eating and drinking, but also stop, doing anything wrong with our body. Like use your eyes properly, use your ears properly, use your hands properly, use your tongue properly, only according to the will of Allah Ta'ala. That's tawfiq. Tawfiq means success. But at the same time, tawfiq means alignment. Alignment. So if you align your actions with the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, that's tawfiq. So that means your actions are aligned with the will of Allah Ta'ala, with the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. That's real success. But if your action is not aligned with the will of Allah Ta'ala, and let's say you make a lot of money, you get a diploma, you get a reward, they are not really tawfiq. It is success, but not tawfiq. So tawfiq is very, very important for us. And there are many special sunnah for Ramadan. One of them is the sunnah of i'tikaf. During the last 10 days of Ramadan, Rasulullah made i'tikaf. It is the sunnah mu'akkada. Sunnah mu'akkada kifaya. Because not everybody, is supposed to make i'tikaf, but even a small group must make i'tikaf in a community so that the sunnah survives. So that's one of the sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ, and he did every year. He missed 1 year, he made qada of it. And the itikaf of the woman is in their homes. So Taraweeh is another sunnah of Ramadan, and also making Khatm al-Quran is another sunnah during Ramadan, because Rasulullah ﷺ, he used to read, he used to make muqabala, read every day one juz to Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam to repeat the whole Quran. So that's called muqabala. And in Turkey, there's a custom of muqabala. So like either before salat or after salat, imam or muezzin reads one juz. So this way, the whole Jamaat completes Khatm al-Quran at the end of Ramadan. So that's called muqabala, the custom of muqabala. And in every masjid, several muqabala in every day. Let's say a group makes muqabala after Salatul Fajr, another after Zuhur, another, let's say, after Asr. So depending on the available times, but sometimes people attend all of them, so they make 3 khatim. Because if they are retired people, have a lot of time, they can attend all of them. So this custom continues. And I know that in North Africa, they read all together, like a coro. Alhamdulillah, it's better. Alhamdulillah. So that's another sunnah during Ramadan, and also being generous and charitable in Ramadan is another sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ, because Sayyidatuna Aisha narrates that Rasulullah ﷺ was very generous. But in the month of Ramadan, he became like a cloud. What does the cloud give? What does the cloud give? No, everything. The cloud disappears at the end, right? Nothing is left. The cloud disappears itself. It gives everything. It gives himself. So, and Sayyidatuna Aisha said, in the month of Ramadan, Rasulullah became like cloud. He was giving everything. He was so generous in the month of Ramadan. So that's another sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So it's a month we celebrate. It's a month we should be really happy that we are blessed with the month of Ramadan. And also we should be very grateful to our ulama, to previous generations who preserved fasting as it is. So today when I fast, I know that this is how Rasulullah ﷺ and his ashab fasted. But a Christian can never be sure, because they corrupted. As I showed, like in the example, because kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba alal ladzina min qablikum. So siyam was mandatory on every community, even before, but they corrupted it. But alhamdulillah, our religion is not corrupted. So today, when we fast the way Rasulullah ﷺ fast, but his fasting was not fasting of stomach. His fasting was fasting of badan and fasting of the heart. So that's the real and the perfect stomach. So let's upgrade our fasting this Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala. If you used to make Sawm al-Batn, let's upgrade to Sawm al-Badan. If you used to make Sawm al-Badan, let's upgrade to Sawm al-Qalb. Inshallah ta'ala, let's increase. Because Rasulullah says, anyone who does a good deed, he gets reward 10 to 700 times. 10 to 700 times. Who get 10, who gets 700? Depending on the quality of the act of worship. So those who fast Sawm al-Qalb, they get 700 times ajr out of it. Those who fast Sawm al-Ma'dah, they get 10 times more. So Allah Ta'ala is still generous to them as well. But our goal should always, do more do a better way of fasting according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam. May Allah help us reach Ramadan in good health and fast according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah internally and externally. Like many people who used to live last year, who fasted, they could not reach Ramadan today, right? Like in Turkey, around 50,000 people died right before Ramadan. So last year they were living and they were fasting. This year they could not reach. Like our brother Nabil, he was fasting last year and he died only a few weeks before Ramadan. He could not reach this Ramadan. So let's really seize the opportunity and try to benefit from the barakah of Ramadan as much as possible. Who knows, like whether you will reach next Ramadan or not. And may Allah, forgive and treat with His endless mercy those who died in the earthquake, those who died in the during the year, and in particular our dear brother Nabil, who was part of this community. I met him in this community, and I met him also in Qatar. MashaAllah, he was a great brother, and he was a very active member of this community. You see, like when you are member of a community, people remember you after you die. They pray for you, and they bear witness for you. They give their testimony for you that you are a good person. And in a hadith, Rasulullah says, if believers give their testimony that someone is good, even if he's a bad person, Allah Ta'ala accepts the testimony of the believers. And He accepts him as a good person. See what I mean? So make people give good testimony about you, have good relations and become a good member of the community so that you are remembered with du'as, with prayers after you pass away. Jazakumullah khairan. So may Allah accept your fasting from now, and may Allah make the month of Ramadan an occasion, an opportunity for us to cleanse ourselves from all our sins, to cleanse our hearts and gain health, spiritual health, physical health, inshallah ta'ala, and sharpen our will and liberate ourselves from our addictions, from our bad habits, and get out of Ramadan clean, free, with a strong will, with a better commitment to become a better Muslim, a better human being, inshallah ta'ala. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan.